to me, it's all God's creation, and we're supposed to be caring for it, not exploiting it. And I think members of faith communities are beginning to see that more clearly.
We believe, and our experience shows us, that there is a deep concern and spiritual concern that runs deep through Vermont, that is often expressed in people's love of creation, the care of the earth, our commitment to environmental stewardship, whether we call it a religious matter or not, is a big piece of that spiritual journey for people. So we hope that we can tap that energy and help people see that there is a faith connection that we share when we're doing this work together. That our care for the earth, our care for creation is deeply rooted in the spiritual dimension of our lives.
It's a tradition that really asks that we're constantly reminded that we are in relationship. And therefore, food and the planet, although a recent addition to our conversation, if you look back in the commentaries dating back over 2,000 years, you have the rabbis talking exactly about this. So there's 2,000 years worth of a conversation that the present can mine for the wisdom it needs in the moment. So the idea of eco-kashrut is not a new idea, but it is a construct now that we can use as we look through those 2,000 years worth of commentary, as well as the text itself, the Torah itself, to give us a foundation for helping us live in a way that will bring life and health to ourselves, to each other, and ultimately our relationship with the Holy One that's our job.
My faith helped shape me because it gave me a foundation for caring for everything. So the connection with Quaker Earth Care Witness was that Quakers believe that there's that of God in everyone. Our founder talked about walking cheerfully over the earth, answering that of God in everyone. But Quaker Earth Care Witness took it the next step and said that there's that of God in everything, in all of life.
Let's go back to the beginning, and let's go back to the book of Genesis, and let's go back to the creation myths and look at what was being said there about the nature of creation, that God created it and created it for good and as good, and that gave human beings a special place in that creation to care for creation.
So in our own tradition, we have Saint Benedict, who founded the Benedictine tradition of monasticism and laid into the tradition a foundation of a custodial model. So early on, 1,500 years ago, the monastics had a relationship to the earth that was one of care. And then years later, in the 13th century, we have St. Francis of Assisi, and he has a new relationship with earth. Instead of custodial, his is more relational. And Francis also has a sermon where he's preaching to the birds. So you see him out there, talking to the birds, and then he stops, and then he lets the birds give him a homily and preach to him. So you have in the tradition then this understanding of this mutuality between ourselves and the natural world.
If you don't have hope, and this is true with all faith traditions, if you don't have hope, you don't get up in the morning. What's Jewish is, how can I make the world a better place? And if it's already been made a better place, how do I make it even better? How much deeper can I go? How can I tweak the system so that it works even more? What's the next question that I could ask that hasn't been asked? The yearning, the hope. Okay? The yearning is right in the liturgy. The yearning is right in all the rabbinic commentaries. So the yearning is a manifestation of hope that things will get better, that the next generation will be able to do, that tomorrow is going to be a better day. So the entire fabric of Judaism is based on hope.
I think one of the great things that people of faith bring is that hope and is that trust that we can make a difference. And that you know, at the beginning of creation, in all the Abrahamic faith stories, the declaration about creation is that God declared it good. And I think what God declares good is always good. And part of our job now, in the face of the chaos and the crisis that we're in, is how do we restore the creation? How do we restore that goodness which is God's gift to us? And so as people of faith, we are people of hope. We look to the future and trust that we can make a difference. For Christians, it's all deeply rooted in our resurrection faith, our understanding that life can come from death. And so we may be in a very dangerous place right now in our world. We may be in a place of crisis, and yet it's only going to be people who have the hope and expectation that we can restore the goodness of creation. I think that will make a difference. And so I think that is one of the big things that people of faith bring.